So we're on to chapter 13 of Hank Zipzer Help Somebody Get Me Out of Fourth Grade. And now Hank's sister, Emily, has kind of blackmailed him into painting her toenails in order to help him. So let's see what happens here. My dad was setting the table while my mom was putting the finishing touches on dinner. When I walked into the dining room, I noticed that he was putting out soup spoons, and for a minute, I actually got excited. I hoped that maybe my mom had brought home some of Papa Pete's mushroom barley soup that we sell at our deli, the crunchy pickle. It is my absolute favorite soup. No such luck. Your mother has created a new soup she's trying out on us tonight, my dad said. These are not words you want to hear in my house. My mom is always trying to create new, healthy versions of dishes Papa Pete invented when he started the crunchy pickle 50 years ago. But her recipes usually taste something like cow pasture mixed in with a little cardboard. Please tell me the soup doesn't have cabbage in it, I begged. One thing I learned in my 10 3/4 years on this earth is that cooked cabbage not only tastes disgusting on its own, it makes everything else around it taste disgusting too. It doesn't matter what that anything else is. Even if it's old leather shoes, if you boil them with cabbage, they'll taste like old leather cabbage shoes. It doesn't have cabbage in it, my dad smiled. Oh, yes. She says it's 3B soup, my dad said. A mixture of beets, Brussels sprouts, and bananas, all ground up together with some lima beans thrown in for texture. Oh, no. Cement soup. You could probably hold bricks together with it. My mom came in through the swinging door from the kitchen, carrying a big steaming bowl of the awful smelling stuff. Her blonde hair was all wild looking, like it gets when she's cooking up something new, and she had a couple chunks of lima beans clinging to her pink sweater. Even though she was pretty messy, it really was cute the way she looked so proud of her new invention. Must have been the way that scientist whose name I can't remember when he discovered penicillin in the moldy old dishes. Soup's on, my mom called out. Everyone come and get it. Emily came galloping out of her room, carrying Catherine on her back like she was taking the lizard on some kind of crazed piggyback ride. Catherine must have smelled the soup because she got closer to the table. Her nostrils got really big. And she started to hiss. Oh, look, Catherine seems upset, Emily said. Maybe some nice music would calm her down. Why don't I put in a CD? I suggested, like I had just come up with the best idea my brain had ever come up with. That's a very good idea, honey, my mom said. Emily took her place at the table, with Catherine the Ugly still draped across her back. Then she looked at me and winked. Emily, that's it. Catherine isn't what you call a winker. A winker? I flashed Emily a little smile. I have to admit, the girl may be the oddball of the Western world, but for once, she was really taking my side in a very cool sisterly way. As my mom dished the soup into 4 bowls and put one at each of our places, I raced into my room to get the Stone Cold Rock CD. I held it behind my back and came into the dining room and casually strolled over to the CD player we keep on the bookshelf near the table. I hope you didn't pick anything too loud, my dad said. Dinner music should be easy on the nerves. No problem, Dad, I answered as I slipped the disc in and cranked up the volume. I could hear the music start to whir, gaining speed. I slid into my chair and took a whiff of the soup. I nearly passed out. Smells really interesting, Mom, I said as I crumbled up a handful of crackers into the brownish, greenish, pinkish liquid. My dad was just putting the first spoonful of soup into his mouth when the music started to play Stone Cold Rock's classic hit, Whacked Out Crazy for Ya. Wang, dang, wing, 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 whoop, whoop. The bass guitar belted out a thumping beat that exploded into our dining room like a bomber diving into a soup bowl. I thought my dad was going to jump out of his skin. His soup went flying out of his hands. The soup spoon went flying out of his hands and sailed across the table. Ladies and gentlemen, the soup has left the spoon. Wang, ding, wing, 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 whoop, whoop. As the spoon flew over the table, the soup that had once been in it splattered in all directions, little clumps of it landing on the table, the walls, and my mom's pink sweater. It looked like it was raining brownish, greenish, pinkish mud. Thunk! The spoon landed with a thud right on the end of Catherine's hissing snout. Careful, Dad. Kathy has a very sensitive face, Emily shouted. What about my ears? Dad yelled back over the blasting music. They're sensitive too. The beat was great. The whole dining room was thumping with the bass. Then the lead singer let out a wild shriek and launched into the first lines of the song that are so catchy, you just have to sing along. Cheerio, who had been sleeping under my dad's feet, suddenly jumped out from under the table and started to spin in a circle, howling in a high, screechy voice that made him sound like a girl dog with hot feet. I looked at my dad and his eyes were really big, like he had just seen a ghost, but he wasn't looking at Cheerio or even at the soup on the walls. He was staring at my mom. She had jumped out of her seat and had started to sing. And I don't mean the tra-la-la-la-la kind of singing. She was rocking out in a major kind of way. And she was dancing too. And I don't mean the hold your partner and twirl slow dance either. She was dancing. Because I love my mom and don't want to embarrass her totally in case she ever reads this, I think I'll just describe the way she looked this way. Imagine your favorite rock song. Then imagine your mom singing it at the top of her lungs. Then imagine her dancing to it with all her heart and soul. You have that picture in your mind? Good. Now multiply that times 20. Better yet, times 50. Nope, times 100. Okay, that's close to the way my mom was singing and dancing to Whacked Out Crazy for You. Let's just say it was loud and nuts and very unmom-like. Come on, Stan, my mom giggled. Get up and dance with me. My dad didn't move. He just sat there with his mouth open so wide. I could see the silver fillings in his back teeth. My mom grabbed Emily and started to dance with her. To my surprise, Emily got into it, shaking her bony butt in a really scary kind of way. Good old Catherine freaked out. I guess in Iguana Land, where she comes from, they don't boogie down. When Emily started to shake her butt, Catherine hung on to her back for dear life. Finally, the shaking got too much for the hissy, lizardy self, and she dove headfirst down back under Emily's shirt. Her back claws clutched onto Emily's shoulders, and her tail stuck straight out above Emily's head like a feather. The two of them together looked like they were a whacked-out version of Pocahontas doing the 21st century rain dance. As I watched my mom and Emily dancing around the room, singing the words to Stone Cold Rock's Whacked Out Crazy for You, I knew I had my dad in the palm of my hand. There was absolutely no way he could say that he wasn't going to take my mom to Philadelphia to see the concert. She was just having too much fun. But parents are full of surprises, aren't they? I was wrong about my dad. Totally, completely, absolutely, entirely wrong. Even after I told my mom all about how I won the concert, even after I played another Stone Cold Rock song, even after I gagged down all my soup and told my mom how delicious it was, even after all that, my dad still said he didn't want to go to Philadelphia. It's silly to go all the way to another city on a weekday just to see some young men who need haircuts playing instruments, he said. But Dad, they're Mom's favorite band, I argued. And here they are, he said, holding up the CD, all packed up inside this nice shiny disc. She can listen to them right here in the comforts of her own home. Mom, I said, turning to her. Aren't you going to tell him how much you want to go? Marriage is all about give and take, my mom said. If it makes your dad uncomfortable to go, then how much fun would it be for me? How much? It would be totally fun. Hank, my mom said, I'm fine not going to the concert. Why is it so important to you anyway? Why? For once, the words were right there, ready. But they didn't come out. Because I want you to miss the parent-teacher conference, because I don't want you to know how bad I'm doing in school, because I want to go to 5th grade, because I don't want to be the only one left behind in 4th grade. But I didn't say any of that. Instead, I just shrugged my shoulders and sighed and said, no reason.